Hi everybody, this is Oksana, and in this video I have a tiny little crescent moon. So my other tutorials focus on bigger size of crescent moons, but what if you have just a tiny one like this? It's kind of difficult to make really intricate designs because it's just so small. So here's a simple design that you can do that uses one base wire and then some thin wire as well to make the connections. So if you want to see how to make this little moon, just keep watching, and if you like my video and you're not already subscribed, please consider subscribing, and also don't forget to hit the notification bell to be notified of new videos. I post a new tutorial every weekend. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm gonna be starting out with some 20 gauge square copper wire. I buy mine on riogrande.com, and I'm gonna have one piece of it here that I cut. Just gonna measure it for you. So it's about 14 inches, and then my stone is a Rainbow Moonstone Crescent Moon, and it is about 20 millimeters, just a little bit less than an inch tall. So I'm gonna position my moon like this. You could do this way as well, it's up to you. Works either way. So the first thing I'm gonna do, and this is probably the trickiest part here, is I'm gonna try to bend my wire around my moon. This part is easy, the back, but then once you get here to the angles of the moon, that's where it gets tricky. You can use tools if you want, like pliers, but I find it easier just to do it with my fingers. So just kind of slowly, carefully keep bending. This wire here, I'm gonna just bend it up because I want my bail. Let me just adjust it, this kind of slipped. All right, I want my bail to be just up here at the top of the moon. So I'm just gonna bend that wire up, and then this wire, just going to continue shaping it around. So here's what it looks like so far. Once I get to the top there, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wrap this wire all the way around until it comes to the front again. And that messed up this little point, as you can see. So let me just grab my pliers here and adjust and fix that. So now I'm just going to hold it, make sure I don't mess up that point, and I'm going to press on this because I want to bring this wire to the front. There we go. But I want this little point to stay put. There we go. So now this is the shape of my moon. My moon fits in here. It obviously doesn't stay because it can just fall out the front or the back there. And what I'm going to do with this wire is I am just going to curve it a little bit here onto the front tip of my moon here like this, and I'm gonna trim it, and I'm gonna make a swirl. So it's probably easier to remove the stone for this part so you don't accidentally drop it. But I'm just gonna, the way I make my swirls is I squish my wire. You don't have to, but this is just how I do it. I squish the little tip of my wire, and I'm using my round nose pliers now, and then I go ahead and I just make that little swirl like this. And I'm just going to press down on that a little bit. There we go. Now, while I have my round nose pliers here, I'm going to go ahead and make this bail. So to make the bail, I'm just going to hold this wire coming out the top here, and I'm going to bend it towards me. Then I'm going to move my pliers this way so that I can bend it around them, making that rounded shape. Like this, just bend it all the way around. That's going to be our bail. And now I'm just going to take this wire and I'm going to wrap it from front to back so that my bail will stay attached, and I'm just going to squish this little area there to make it nice and tight. Okay, so now we have a swirl in the front and this wire on the back there. So if I just take my moon and I kind of pop it back in here, looks like this, and I'm gonna go to the back now, and I'm gonna take this wire and I'm gonna press it down across the back of my moon, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna bend it from back to front like this. So the back of the moon has a wire going across it now, and then here on the front is that wire popping out, and I'm going to go ahead and make another swirl with it. So I'm just bending it, trimming that off. Oops, wrong pliers. Those are my regular pliers. I want my round nose pliers. So I'm just making another swirl the same way that I made it up at the top there. And I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. There we go, that's good. Just gonna press down on that swirl a little bit. So now the stone, it's a teeny bit wobbly in there, but you have the swirls trapping it from the front, and on the back you have this wire kind of trapping it from the back. So now we're just going to attach those things with some half round wire. I'm going to be using some 24 gauge half round wire, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the end of it and I'm going to leave it attached to the spool for now, because I don't quite know how long I'm going to need. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it through here and through the swirl as well, so that I can attach the swirl here at the top to this edge wire. So I'm just going to keep this wire end here, not end, this is the wire end, the other side of the wire attached to the spool. And I'm just going to go ahead and work on this wire end. I'm going to put it through again and put it through my swirl again so that I can just tighten this up a bit here. And now I'm just going to wrap around just this little edge wire here to finish off and attach this wire. So I'm just gonna make several wraps there, just around that wire that's just going around the edges of our moon. Because the swirl is already attached, we wrapped around it there. All right, so this is good. This is about 4 wraps. That should be adequate. Just gonna trim that, leave a little wire end there, and then just tuck away that little wire end. Just tuck that this way. So if we look at it here, the little swirl is attached. let me just adjust this. There we go. Kind of moved out of place a little bit. So now with this wire, I'm going to go ahead and cut it, but I need it to be nice and long. So here, I'll just measure real quick. It is about 8 inches long, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wrap it around. I know that this is the flat side of the wire that's facing me, not the rounded side. I know usually when you work with half round wire, you do the rounded side up, the flat side down, but just for this part in the back, it just has to be different, just the way it's going. All right, so I'm just going to have it go across. Then I'm going to work it in here, this other edge wire. I'm basically trying to secure the back of this. One more time. If you want, you can just kind of bring those two wraps together. Now I'm just going to have it go underneath this wire again. Like this. So it looks like a little triangle. And then now we're kind of trap the back in pretty good, and then here's the wire. It's where it needs to be to attach this swirl here to this edge. So the first thing I'm going to do before I attach the swirl is I'm just going to wrap around the edge wire there. There we go. That brings it down as well, since it kind of had raised up a little. So I'm just going to make one more wrap there. All right. So now I'm ready to attach the swirl. So I'm just going to put it through the swirl and also underneath that little edge wire. There we go. Proving to be quite difficult. Now don't pull too hard on this, because the swirl can only go so far. If you pull really hard, it might just like move the other side of it and mess it up. That's okay, there's a little gap. And now I'm just gonna put it through just around the edge wire again to finish it off. All right, so about 4 wraps should be adequate. I'm just gonna trim it, leave myself a little wire end there so that I can take that wire end and just tuck it away, push it down in there. So now our swirl up top is attached, our swirl on the bottom is attached. My bail is a little crooked, so I'm just gonna adjust it. And this is the front of our moon, so it just has these 2 nice little decorative swirls, and the back of it just has this wire going across, and then the thin wire is just kind of connecting it, because there's some pretty big empty spaces, so I wanted to have this thin wire kind of connecting it all. I know this area is left open, but because we have these nice big swirls, if you push on it from the back, it doesn't pop out. Doesn't pop out of this side because the swirls are nice and big and they're holding a large enough portion of the corners of the moon there. That's what keeps it secure. So that's it. That's how to wrap a tiny little moon. I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.